Azure offers a lot of services that Go developers can use in their applications to improve security and scalability while reducing complexity, such as Azure Active Directory for strong authentication, Redis for caching, and Azure Storage to store any kind of data. Josh Gavant is here to show us how to do it today on Azure Friday. Hi everybody, welcome to Azure Friday. I'm Erik St. and today I have Josh Gavant here with me to talk about some of the managed services that are available to Go developers within Azure.
Yeah, thank you, Erik. Actually we have lots of managed services and we're trying to make them more and more easy to use for our Go developers. So if viewers watched our last talk, we talked about this part of this diagram, the different forms of compute, the spectrum of compute that's available. But really, if you're writing apps for cloud, it's great that we have a managed platform. That's a very important part of it, a managed compute platform. But one of the big advantages and something that people should be looking to take advantage of is all the managed services that are available in Azure or whatever cloud or data center you're running in. Set up managed services there. I kind of grouped them in this diagram into three categories, and we're just going to talk about a couple examples today. But there are a couple other sessions in this series where the other ones will be covered. So I kind of grouped them into storage services, so databases like SQL or even MySQL or Postgres, NoSQL databases through Cosmos, blob storage, through the storage service, caches with Redis. Actually, that's what I want to show today is a Redis cache. That's pretty important, obviously. Messages and events, we have several services that can help people communicate better. And this is becoming more and more important in cloud as people have these decoupled microservices applications and they, at first it's okay, direct RPC, communicating between them, but it starts to get more important to understand a little better and have reliable messages there. So we have some services for that are going to be covered in other videos. And then finally, I wanted to call out authentication and authorization. Because you don't have to maintain your own directory of users. You don't need to find out their profile information. You can wire up to Azure AD.
I have to create all that all on my own?
No.
Storing and you don't want encrypting all the user data? And
yeah, exactly. Let's get out of that business. So that's another one that I want to show today is how you can add user authentication to a Go application in Azure. So again, we're going to start off with the app that I showed last time, and it's pretty similar. It says hello somebody, and if I say name equals Gopherman, then it says hello Gopherman. I guess I should show you the inside of the code, but this time I've made it a little more complex. So the basic tester function is still down there. We say hello, but then we've got a couple other handlers here where we kick off the authorization flow. And maybe I should take a step back here. So the way that you integrate with Azure Active Directory to get the benefit of the directory that they have there, the sign-in and the passwords and everything is through OAuth and OpenID Connect.
Okay.
Standard open cloud protocols and Azure AD, from talking to them, I know they go over and beyond to make sure that they're compliant with the protocol. So I wrote in a couple, to get that user authentication, there are a couple handlers you need. So when the user first hits your app and they're not authenticated, you have to send them over to Azure AD, to the authorization server, redirect them there to sign in and get a token to bring back to you. And then when they come back to you with actually not a token, a code, an authorization code, they hand it to you, and then you, as the server, I'm talking about the developer, you have to hand that off again to Azure AD and exchange it for a proper access token, or ID token if it's OpenID Connect.
This is like a bearer token that gets passed along with each request?
Yeah, exactly. And thenceforth, if they wanted to access more things on your behalf, for example, mainly the Office services and Microsoft Graph, they can do with this. Actually, to access Azure services, we recommend more of a trusted account model. So we don't actually, we're working on better supporting on behalf of flows within Azure, like databases and storage and things. But at this point, for that, you would actually need a different principle and a little bit different scheme which I'll show you with the Redis example coming up. Right here what I did is if somebody hits the root of my site, then I register this handler, and I've used, basically you could see way down deep, it's just calling the tester function again. But I've wrapped it in kind of middleware so that it takes a handler and returns a wrapped handler.
Okay.
So I've wrapped it with a handler that implements with authentication. And then you see another one, /login. The important thing here is that it's actually the handler that's calling is the authorization code handler. Let me just show you what those look like real quick. That's the key point here. Oops. So in auth.go, and these, I should mention, these things I'm working on getting up into our Azure SDK for Go samples repo. Shameless plug here, I should mention that. It's at Azure Samples, Azure SDK for Go samples on GitHub. And these will all be up in here. You can find them under the apps directory or scenarios directory. We're kind of thinking about where to put them, but they'll be in there so you can review this stuff. So I know we're going kind of quickly here. So the main thing that I was pointing out to you earlier, and I'll show you here, is that with authentication, takes in a handler, wraps it with the authentication stuff. As you can kind of see here, we check if the user is authenticated. We're using OAuth2 config. Actually, I should go up to the top. You can use, if you notice there on line 12 and 13, we're using the standard XOAuth2 library. And actually, the package with Microsoft's endpoints is fully up to date and works. So in there, I'm using XOAuth2. I am from, let's see, this is the user coming in. I have to redirect them. So I use that OAuth2 config. I create this URL here, and then I redirect them off to get authenticated. That will send them over to login.microsoftonline.com, the login, and they'll be redirected back here then. And this time they'll be redirected to the /login endpoint, and that will be handled by this. So here we check the state, make sure that that's correct. We get the authorization code out, and then we call again from the XOAuth2 package, OAuth2 config.exchange. We exchange the code for a proper access token. And then we do a little more work because it's an OpenID Connect token, so we can actually parse that down further. That's what I'm doing here. I'm taking the ID token, parsing it as a JOT, getting out some parameters that I want. Specifically what I'm interested in, this is the key line. I'm able to get some standard claims out of there. And then in lines 171 and 172, I'm able to I'm using some constants for the key names, but I'm able to get out an email and a name. And then I've actually created, to show this all off, I think it's at the bottom of this file though, a little user handler, which just reads, instead of saying hello, name equals Gopherman or Erik or whatever up there, instead I get the user's name from the login.
Okay.
So, and I've also deployed this out to Azure App Service.
So now it's actually returning back information about the user that authenticated and not just authenticating them and giving you just the access token.
Yes, exactly. That's what OpenID adds to this whole thing. Otherwise, with just OAuth, you would get a bearer token, but you wouldn't know anything about the person. But if you specify in the request, I want OpenID information, then you'll get that too. And I should also point out the place to sign up to create these things is apps.dev.microsoft.com. So actually, I'm using this Go tester app to get my app ID and client ID and set my redirect URLs. Yes, so let's see if this works. Let's go to user info maybe. So I'm already logged in this site. Let me clear the cache real quick. What was that called? Go, there we go. Toss that out. Go auth, web apps. Now it redirects me. And I get this standard Azure AD login page. I can log in with either of these. I'll choose to do that one. The home page still doesn't tell you my name, but when I go to the user info page, it's got it there. Yeah, so that's what I want to show you about auth. The next thing that I was going to bring up, although we're probably running a little short on time, is Redis. So like I actually, in this same application, after the user is authenticated, I want to keep that data around so that when they go to a different page, I can still know their name and
Right.
still verify that they're authenticated. I've actually been using this in other, I have a sign-up app where I need to, I want people to only be able to use their own name to sign up. And if even though it's not a high security system, but I wanted at least to guarantee their name, and so I had them sign in, and I can track their name through the whole thing. So originally, I was using Gorilla's Sessions module, or package, to do that with a cookie store. But I'm able to use Azure's Redis Cache really simply. So I'm just going to, instead of showing you the cookie store, I'll just skip right to that, kind of show you. Oh, this is actually still using a cookie store. Let me just see. Oh, I need to check out the head. That was my. Oop, I might have lost my. Shoot. I can show you it on GitHub. How about? So I accidentally seem to have deleted that last commit, and I don't want to get it back right this second. So let's go to GitHub. Josh Gav. Go sample auth. Hopefully I uploaded the Redis changes, and if not, we'll just talk about them. So in session.go here, yes. This time, instead of creating a cookie store, I went ahead and created a Redis store using a common package from the community. Up here, you can see it's from this one. And this was really the only change I had to make. It's because the store is an interface, so I just replaced the cookie store with this Redis store. I added to my script AZ Redis create or ensure whatever, make sure it's there, and then I ran this all again, and it started using Redis behind the scenes. I don't have to worry about it.
And this is just provisioning a managed Redis.
Yeah. So like if I go into that dashboard here, maybe we'll even see it. Yeah. So you see, I've got the Redis cache as one of these things, and it's really nice for me. Like I know what Redis is and I use it sometimes, but like I don't have time to go deep into how to set up a Redis cluster and things like that.
Update it, and yeah.
Yeah, who even knows? So at least I can get started, and then I don't like to use the portal necessarily from the start, but I'll come back in here and like review the kinds of stuff that's available, kind of click around, what kind of advanced settings can I set? So it's really, I mean, I'm just trying to point out some of the benefits of starting with a managed service. Of course, this scales up and down and all around.
Well, the more you use managed services, the more you can focus on your actual business logic, right?
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Yeah, so I'll just bring us back to here. This is your Go apps on Azure.
Well,
use our managed platform, use the managed services, and go, go, go.
And thanks again for joining us. So today we were learning about some of the managed services that Azure provides for you to be able to leverage things like authentication and authorization and data storage and things that you don't actually have to implement yourself here on Azure Friday.